What's up, everybody? How you doing? This is Chris Irving, Kratom Kingdom, aka Thomas Chris Irving, whatever you want to call me. I am the first Kratomite, I believe. I started a movement called Kratomites, and this video is not going to be for children. My videos from now on won't be for children, and this is why Kratom is under attack. Because the FDA has not made a ruling on if Kratom should be regulated or not. So that makes it up to every state. And we all know that one state, Alabama is a lot different than New York City, or a lot different than California for that. California legalizes everything, no problem. So if you're a total liberal like me, you're going to want to go there, where you can get cannabis, Kratom, whatever. Tennessee, however, you have to be 18 plus to get Kratom. So none of my videos, if they're shown in Tennessee, are for anybody 18 under. So 16, 15, 14, whether I believe it's dangerous or not is irrelevant. YouTube is just following laws, and for some reason Tennessee, being Tennessee, doesn't want to deal with it. And if they can call something a controlled substance, they will, because they can make money off it then, right? Because then it's got to have a prescription to get it, which would be ridiculous. It grows on a tree. I mean, it's been used for hundreds of years with not a single death. And the death that was reported in America, of course, was reported without any investigation at all. And that's not misinformation. I studied this case in depth because I don't want to take something that kills, and I don't want to promote something that kills people. That would be stupid. So I found out that when this person died, they happened to have some Kratom capsules next to him. That was in their presence. So immediately, poison control goes A plus B equals C, which is not always the case. They didn't happen to notice that the poor guy that died had happened to had other chemicals in his system, such as hydrocodone, oxycodone, and I will tell you, do not mix them, because they kind of do the same thing. And if you take enough of it, and if your body isn't, I'm a pretty big guy, so my tolerance is pretty high. Plus, I've used it so much, from very small quantities to big quantities, because I'm an idiot. I'm an addict. I'll admit it straight up. I am an addict. I don't drink alcohol because I'm an addict. I don't do any drugs of any kind because I'm an addict. And Kratom, for some reason, I can keep that under control because I'm an addict and I know it, so I take responsibility for myself and I keep it under a certain amount of grams a day. I didn't used to. When I noticed it was becoming a problem, I cut back, and successfully, mind you. I mean, I used to go through $200 or $300 a month on Kratom, using 20 grams of Kratom powder in my cup of tea, every cup. Probably 10 to 15 cups a day. That's a lot of Kratom, and that put me in la la land. I'm not gonna lie, it got me through some pretty hard times. I lost my dad, I lost my wife, I lost my house, I lost my car, I lost my friends, I lost everything, and here I am. And now I've put, one of my subscribers, one of my favorite subscribers, knows my situation, knows I'm financially kaput, so he sends me gifts every once in a while. This really, really good Kratom. It's called, wait a minute, I've got it right here. One second. Super Speciosa Signature Reserve, and it's not horribly expensive, but it's not cheap. And this will hopefully last me a month. I'm trying really hard to make it last a month. I've been drinking a lot more coffee, which feels good because it's loosening my bowels and I'm not having so much of those problems anymore. But at the same time, the doctor, the psychiatrist, whom I hate because I'm an addict, decided to take me off my anxiety medication. You know, they're tapering me, of course, but they're doing it too fast, and I am left in a really, I would call myself in a crisis situation. My mom, in her dementia state, right after my dad died, the day my dad died, my little sister, entitled little bitch that she is, took my mom and her 2 sons to the bank and had my mom sign her name, then have her sons sign their name on the deed of the house, saying that the house is theirs. And I didn't see anywhere on it that it said when she dies the house is theirs, but that was her intention. But she doesn't remember things anymore. She's 78 years old, lost her husband, had 9 strokes. So yeah, her memory is not all there. And when I leave, I am going through every avenue I can find to get my own apartment. It's really hard because I'm in a new town that I don't know a single person, and I don't know a single person, so I don't have a single friend. I'm all alone. You guys are all I talk to. And I'm using this as hopefully one day my dream will come true and I will have an income that I can support myself, that I don't have to take Social Security anymore, that I can get off the government tit and rent a house. I want to rent a house. I want to bring my girlfriend, my fiance from the Philippines, who is an amazing woman. She knows my age, she knows my disability, she knows my situation financially, yet she contacts me every day, hasn't asked me for a dime. And because that's the first thing people think, you know, third world country, young girl, money. Nope, not this one. I mean, even if she wanted money, I couldn't give it to her. I don't have it. It's either that or I don't eat, and I'm kind of selfish. I like to eat. And yes, that goop I pulled off was an infection that I have here because this scar never healed. And when I eat sometimes, when I eat something big and I have to open my mouth real wide, it'll cut again. And I really need to get it surgically taken care of. My dermatologist said she would do she would send me to a plastic surgeon who would cut my mouth a little, 3 or 4 millimeters wider, just so I don't have this problem all the time, and then heal it, and then sew it up correctly, not the way a dentist does it. Doop doop, done, out the door. And I was so messed up on what are they called? The last tooth in your mouth, when you get them removed, they put you unconscious. So I had no idea. They never asked me if they could do this, but when they put that thing in my mouth to get to the very back of my mouth, it ripped. So now I've got like a Joker mouth. I mean, I want you to see it real close, how gross it is. It makes me an ugly person. Not only that, I am an ugly person. Not on the inside. I'm a beautiful person on the inside. I will do anything for anybody. If any of you need anything, any advice, if I have money, I will send it to you. But I don't. I am a very poor, lonely, old man. My age is 54. I mean, I'm not that old. I still feel in my 30s, because at 33 was when I died. I literally died at 33. The stroke in my brain shut my heart down, shut everything down, and I died for a certain amount of seconds or whatever. It was enough to where they had to put me in the ICU in a coma for a month. And my wife was there every day, my ex-wife, thinking, oh, he's going to get, this is Chris, he can do anything, he's going to get out of this, he's going to go back to work as a teacher, he's going to go back to school and get his PhD and become a professor of a university like he's always wanted to, he can open a psychology clinic, which is his dream for kids, because I've had many opinions and philosophies on child rearing and why so many children I saw in schools, because I was a special ed teacher, were so entitled, so messed up. It was because I was a perfect shoe-in for a special ed in a classroom called BED, behaviorally and emotionally disabled, not disturbed, disabled. And they've since renamed it because that was not politically correct. And I don't remember the new name. It's not important for me because I'm not that guy anymore. I am just Chris now. And I am Chris Kratom. And so I'm going to keep this very short. I want to let you know that I am going to continue to go on. And with the support from you guys, and unfortunately, my homie that keeps sending me the Kratom goes by an initial. And if I knew his first name, I would know it forever. But initial, it's either CW or DP. And both of you are awesome. I mean, someone that sends me Kratom is amazingly awesome. He has a heart like mine, I can tell. He's helped me see the light of God, which pre all this stuff, I was an atheist. Hardcore atheist. Hardcore scientist. But so many amazing things have happened to me since I died and had the stroke. Met amazing people that have gone way out of their way to help me. I've got 2 caseworkers working in housing for me right now. One of them is calling government housing and on my behalf trying to find out if there's a unit. It's 1 bedroom as big as the room I'm in now, with a bathroom and a kitchen off of it. That's it. No outside. It's inside a tower, so they can stack all of us ghetto, disabled, elderly people up together. But it's a place that I can say is mine, and my sister, in her evilness, in her low-class self, can kick me out of. She can't do anything to me. Once I'm there, she can't touch me. I'll have my own money. I can call her whatever name I want. I can go on the internet and say that Devin Marie Richards is an evil woman. She wants me dead. She's gone as far as to say so. She said I'm a burden to the family and that I'm psychologically unfit to be around human beings and I would be better off dead. So that's what I got to say to you. And her husband physically attacked me. A 54-year-old, 100% disabled individual, with not even by himself. He had to have his 24-year-old son, who had never been in a fight in his life, shove me from behind, break my ribs on the table, and then once I'm on the ground, look down at me and laugh at me, make sure to humiliate me as much as they possibly could. Then they went out and told my mom, you need to get Chris out of here. You need to get him help. You need to send him to a hospital. You need to send him to a shelter because he can't stay around my kids anymore. And my mom loves her grandchildren so much, I almost believe she loves them more than me, because my name was, I have nothing in the world. They had a home, a mom and a dad whose responsibility it is to take care of their kids. But they always threw that responsibility on my mom and dad because she decided to quit school, work at a coffee shop with her low-class husband who couldn't keep a job to save his life, who couldn't take care of my sister. And they decided, hey, let's have kids since we can't afford ourselves and we're living at your mom and dad's house because your mom and dad are amazing people and they will take care of even us. And have been taking advantage of my mom and dad ever since. When my mom saw the babies, she fell in love, and that's all she remembers. Her heart swelled up and she was like, my grandbabies. And since then, me and my brother moved away. because we didn't need parents anymore. We were grown up. We were married. We bought our own houses. We had our own lives. I had a career. I was going places. And so she had her grandchildren, and she treated them like they were her children. She gave them more than they ever gave us growing up, because when we grew up, we were poor. My dad was a construction worker who didn't always have work and would move us all over the country. So I never grew up with a sense of entitlement. If there was yearbooks being sold, my grandchildren, or her grandchildren, always got a yearbook. The $500 trip to Disneyland? No way. I can't send you to Disney World with $500. We wouldn't have rent or a car. But for her grandchildren, she'd mortgaged her house and did it. And my sister was like, yeah, give to my kids, because I can't afford it. Because I'm a low-life, entitled little bitch. Evil. I'm pissed, yes, and that goes into why Kratom is the enemy. I've had many commenters tell me that I'm not straight edge, that I'm a drug addict, that Kratom is no good. All opinions, and I take opinions with a grain of salt. I'm a scientist who believes in God, and in my scientific research, I have studied other scientists who are who are scientists in chemistry. Chemistry is what this Kratom is. I've given up the fight of what you name it or what you call it. I don't care anymore. It's funny to me that, it's so funny to me that people use double negatives when they speak. It just shows their level of how much they care what other people think. Well, I particularly care what people think, so I try to speak as articulate and educated as possible. And in Tennessee, that is seen as a horrible thing. They call me sophisticated because they're proud rednecks, and they want to be proud rednecks, sovereign citizens who speak with broken English on purpose to sound uneducated, because that's what they think rednecks do. They drive big trucks and they talk illiterate. I don't particularly believe that. I know a lot of rednecks who are hard-working people, support their family. They drive a big truck because they work, and they need that big truck for work to put stuff in it, usually lumber, because they're hard-working construction guys. And some of my best friends were construction workers. Never judged me because of, and they never gave me a reason to judge them, because we talked about why they know that you don't use a negative and a negative in the same sentence. They know it, and they just don't care. And I respect that. And I respect you if you do. If you say, I ain't got none, that's up to you. I mean, if you're going for a job interview and you speak to the boss of a multi-million-dollar corporation or a university that I was applying for, immediately you were checked off the list. Because, I worked in sales positions where, I've worked at nothing jobs. I've worked for minimum wage, but when I reached 20 and became a man, I worked construction. And all my construction worker mates, spoke with their 8th grade education that they went to. And I respected them because they're from 8th. My father went to school for 7th grade and then quit. Ran away, moved to New York on his own, joined the army, fought for his country, came home, disabled, psychologically disabled. He had a cannon blow up in his ear, and he couldn't hear. So he was very loud because he had the headphone syndrome, where he thought, because he can't hear himself speaking loud, So he spoke loud, and as a kid who always cared what other people thought, I was humiliated. You go to a restaurant and my dad's screaming, or he would hear somebody use foul language like fuck, shit, bitch, whatever in front of my mom, and my dad 100% dealt with respect, and he knew that he got respect because he was 6'2", 265 pounds of pure muscle, because he was a construction worker his whole life, and he fought his whole life. He taught me everything I know about beating the shit out of people. He taught me, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna step up to somebody, make the first move. Do it. Hurt them bad right away, because nobody really wants to fight. My brother-in-law that stood in my face and got this close to me, he didn't want to fight me. He just wanted to look like he wanted to fight me so that he could show out in front of the rest of our family. And when I didn't back down, his little son threw me on the ground. His son that I loved like my own kid. I mean, I loved the kid. I gave him my bass that was specially made for me from Ibanez because of my band. $3,000. I gave it to him for $25. And I had a Clive Barker comic collection worth about 10 grand. Every single one from number 1 to the very end. Every Hellraiser, every Pinhead, all of the offshoots. I had all of them. He saw them in my closet and said, I really want these. And I said, take them. You're my favorite nephew. I love you. Take them. He saw my samurai swords in my house. And he's like, I love swords. And I was like, take them. They're yours. I gave him everything. Anything he wanted of mine, I gave him because I loved him. And he had the balls to throw me on the ground and call me a loser and call me a cripple. If I were me, if I had all my balance, I guarantee there would have been a bloodbath of broken noses, broken arms, broken eardrums. Because I fight to hurt, not to show out. I'm not trying to prove to my mom that I can kick ass. I knew I could kick ass. Every tattoo I had was usually the result of some victory of beating some skinhead neo-Nazi's ass, or protecting a girl at a party from jocks that wanted to take advantage of the really pretty drunk girl who they would make take off her clothes in front of everybody at the party. And that wasn't happening on my watch. I had too much respect for women. I still do. If you're a woman, I respect you, and I will protect you even in my condition. And I will do it successfully. When I stood up to my brother-in-law, my sister told me to get out of her house. In Tennessee, if somebody tells you to get out of your house and you don't leave immediately, the cops can get you for trespassing. And they can do anything they want to me. They can cut me with a knife, they can shoot me with a gun, and they would be in their rights because they said get out. And as I tried to leave, he runs across the room, jumps in front of me, and, oh no, don't you ever talk to my fucking way. I'm like, I'm trying to leave, dude. And then he pushed a button, they threw me on the ground, they called me a cripple, they called me a loser, they called me whatever, a piece of shit, and I got mad. And I'm not all there sometimes with brain damage. Kratom keeps me calm, so I will fight for Kratom. For me, it's been a positive. For other people, they want to look down on anything different. And Kratom just happens to be different. So it's a fight. And it's going to be a fight. Just like THC was a fight. Is still a fight. It's illegal, but people still look down upon you for doing it, or for using it as a medication. Native Americans have been using it for hundreds of years. And then Cheech and Chong got it. Made it hilarious. So I can't blame the comment. My dad smoked weed his entire life, and then when he found out that I did one time, he beat my ass. Do as I say, not as I do. I never learned that way. I did I respected and looked up to him so much. I did everything he did. He taught me how to fight. He taught me how to smoke weed. as I became a man, I did actually get high with my dad one time. He was horrified when I said I was straight edge, because the thing he wanted to do the most, which I think is terrible, is when I turned 21, he wanted to go to a bar with me and have his first beer with his son. And I was like, I don't drink. I don't even eat meat. I don't take hydrocodone. I won't take prescription medications unless they're to save my life. And painkillers don't save your life. They just make your life more comfortable and numb. I don't want to be numb. I want to know what the hell's going on. And if that makes me a hard ass, that's me. It's straight edge till death. If you hate straight edge people, because sometimes there's asshole straight edge people. You know, I went through a phase where I would stand outside of a bar, and if I saw a guy stagger out of a bar knowing he can't drive, and he's got his keys in his hands, and he's walking to it, I'm like, hey dude, I'll call you an Uber, I'll call you a taxi, I'll drive you home myself, give me your keys. Fuck you, man, I can drive. You know, I'm like, and him and his girlfriend stagger to their little Miata or something, and I'm like, dude, you're not gonna kill your girlfriend because you're such an idiot. You think you can drive drunk. I don't care about your life, but an innocent person who thinks that you're in control, I care about. My dad had 2 DUIs. Did not make me respect him one bit. In fact, it made me disrespect him, which was when I decided I was straight edge. You know, because I had too many friends die. My grandma was decapitated because of a drunk driver hit her running a red light. The windshield came down and cut her fucking head off. It landed in my aunt's lap. Dead. And my aunt, with her mother's severed head on her lap, never the same again. Who would be? 2 kids that lived across the street that I taught in school, they found out I was straight edge, and they thought, cool, Mr. Irving's cool, he's got tattoos and he's straight edge. What is straight edge? And he skates with us in the streets after school, because I was a skater. And his dad came stumbling over to my house drunk with a beer bottle, and he like leaned against my car, and he's like, hey, come here. And he's like, I don't want you teaching my kids about that straight edge shit. 2 months later, both of his sons dead from driving 100 miles an hour while being so drunk they couldn't even walk. Drove into a tree. Both of them, both of his only sons, dead. And all I wanted, and I didn't go walk up to him and say, don't you wish I would have taught him straight edge now? Because I saw him on YouTube crying, from a news report, and I felt horrible. I mean, I lost, these 2 kids were beautiful little souls. They just wanted to live life, and I blame their dad on killing them, because he was a drunk, he was a drug addict, and he thought it was funny. He was a gangster from LA when he was young. I was a gangster from South Florida when I was young, but my gangster system was anti-drug, anti-government, anti-everything bad. My gang was based on political correctness. We were as politically correct as we can be. Animal rights, human rights. We were vegan. We wouldn't have sex with a woman unless we were in a committed, loving relationship. You know how hard that is at 25? When you're going to clubs and girls are throwing themselves at you because you're in a band and you're not that bad looking, and I was built because I was a construction worker. Plus, for some reason, girls have this thing for bad boys, and because I was 100%, because I wasn't 100% covered in tattoos back then, but I was starting. And 99% of my friends, faces fully tattooed, throats tattooed, complete body suits. And I was just starting, my sleeves and my legs, and because I couldn't afford that shit. I had to pay a mortgage because I was a man. I was buying houses at 26. My sister couldn't buy her first house until she was in her 30s because my mom and dad gave them the down payment for the house. You know where I got my down payment? I worked for it. I saved it. I was a smart man. I still am a smart man to a degree. But I'm rambling, and this is a half-hour video. I'm sorry, but I need to build up my hourly watch time. So if you've made it through this far, thank you. I love you guys, and I'm going to let you go, and I will talk to you the next time. But kratom is not always a bad thing. I don't promote it for children. I promote it for people who have chronic pain. But don't take it with pain pills, please. It might be too much for your respiratory system. Be good to each other. Love each other. Know I love you, and peace out, people.